What is it like to be a Christian with a dissociative disorder and BPD? That is a question that has been asked to me a few times, and I don't want to speak for anybody else. I can only speak for myself. Everybody's kind of different. Alters are different. All those things like that are different. For me personally, it's very hard to the point of exhausting. So I have Sam, who is my primary alter that I talk about when I do these dissociation videos or posts or whatever. She holds all the trauma, and she's not an atheist. She believes in God, but she hates God, and she would very much like to kill God for allowing everything that happened to us in childhood to happen. Victoria is a very spiritual person and is thankful to God for, kind of saving us and stuff like that. Rosie, the child, the only child that I know of right now, there's probably other ones, she is just so scared and terrified, and she wants desperately to be held by God, but she is afraid to come out in the open in any capacity, because something might happen to her in that in between the time when she steps out and before, like, she reaches God's shelter or whatever. I was recently rebaptized. I got baptized the first time. I believe I was 9 years old. Mostly at the direction of my abusive stepfather, who did all of the other things to me that you've heard me talk about before. And it was a Baptist church, so it was immersion. And earlier this year, I was going to a post-evangelical church, and I kind of told them my story again and everything, and they were like, yeah, we'll rebaptize you. And I went down in the water, and I came back up, and I remember not feeling as happy and overjoyed as I felt like I should. And then my mental health was already pretty bad, and from there it started really rapidly, like, declining. So the issue with that is without meaning to, without knowing it or even understanding what I was doing, I didn't even know that I had like a dissociative disorder at the time. I triggered the hell out of Sam, because Sam was the one. She was either co-fronting or solo-fronting, but she remembered that baptism, and she remembered everything that happened to us surrounding that baptism. She probably knows things, not probably, she definitely does know things that I don't know, not only about that, but about so many things. So to me, it was a full circle rebaptism. I have relative safety now. These people accept me. These people love me for who I am. I see and understand that God loves me and accepts me, for who I am and all of that. And the rebaptism is the exclamation point. That's the reclaiming kind of everything that was stolen from me as a child. And then But to Sam, it was like, why are you doing this to me again? Why are you the one that is subjecting me to this whenever all I've ever done is try to protect you? And so then there for a while, I was getting angry when I was in church. I didn't really understand why at the time. Now I understand that to be a bleed through from Sam's mental state. So I'll be sitting in church sometimes. It doesn't happen so much anymore because I've talked to her about it on the rare occasion that she is actually willing to talk to me. And, that you don't have to be in church with me. You can go lock yourself in a room in the far corner of the mind. You don't have to be there. And she's still like, lashes out sometimes, gets very emotional, very angry, stuff like that. But there for a long time, I would be in church and I would be so angry at like nothing. There was nothing that was said in the sermon or anything that I could point to that would be, as we say, triggering, right? It just kind of started happening because she was fine. I guess the way that I understand it is that she was fine when we were just like going to church. And it's not her favorite thing in the world, but we'll deal with it. We'll sort it out. As soon as I got baptized and she is sharing a body with me, it became evident and apparent to her that no, this is not the safe place that I thought it was. This is not the neutral place that I thought it was. They are recreating and redoing the abuse and the systems and the symbolisms of everything that we kind of dealt with before. And that's just one altar. She's definitely the one that has the biggest problem with my Christian faith and my spirituality. But I don't really know how Raven feels about it. I think she's indifferent. I already talked about Rosie. Nancy is like a conservative, like trad wife type. So she likes church, but she would very much like us to be in a different church than we're in. And then there's the judge who has like fantasies of righteous judgment for people that she feels are responsible for all the hate and evil and division and killing and rape and everything like that in the world. Whereas Victoria is a very forgiving person and a person who really tries her damnedest to see the sliver of good in people, whatever sliver that you can grab onto, and try to work with that. And maybe Victoria is ignorant for that. Maybe I am. And that's just the dissociation part. And there's all kinds of dissociative disorders. There's ones that really focus on amnesia. There's ones that are like depersonalization, derealization, which I do have an aspect of depersonalization at times, which is that feeling of like being out of your body and you're kind of watching yourself do stuff and you're very aware, but you're not in control of what's happening and you feel very powerless. So I'm mostly talking about the dissociative disorders that are focused on with independent individual alters, which would basically be your DID, dissociative identity disorder, and your OSDD1 mostly. And that's just the dissociative part. I haven't even got into the depression, the ADHD, the BPD. BPD is borderline personality disorder, which is very literal, very black and white thinking. So either God is the one that's going to save me from all my problems, or God is the one that causes all my problems. And there's really no in between to it a lot of the time. And Sam really latches on to that God is the one who causes all my problem stuff. So anyway,